just so much stuff to go through. It can be overwhelming, really. So you don't know exactly where to start. So you just try to sort things and organize them. Get one big giant house size pile to get down to smaller piles that make more sense and are more accessible. In the meantime, the trash just keeps piling and piling and piling up. And it's like we got to triage through all the trash before we can get to where we decide what are we going to keep, what are we going to give to family, what are we going to try to sell or anything. So yeah, it's just kind of overwhelming, but we press on. It happens a lot. Avalanche. One of the challenges about this is there's things we want to do that will require us to have a lot of equipment for doing on location type things or production of content. And so there's certain things that we have to try and set aside to have access to so that we can keep on working on stuff. But when it comes to the hoarding and breaking loose of things, one of the things we have found is we create a couple of small little spaces in the house that are open and free and clear like this. So this was just like a small little kitchen eating area, and it was completely locked up and pretty nasty and everything, but we kind of found some different pieces of furniture, put them together, cleaned them up, and we now have a little space that we can look outside. We can sit down and have family discussions or whatever it might be. And whenever we get overwhelmed with trying to break loose of a lot of the trash or just sorting through all the hoarded stuff, we have a couple of spaces that we can go to that feel free and clear. And we've also found a way to have some humor in it. We've named each section of the house. And so here in this breakfast nook area, just to the side of the kitchen, which is right over here, we have a bunch of pictures that we have found that we've hung up that all have different birds on them. And looking out onto the porch here, the bird feeders. So right now I'm seeing 2 doves, 2 cardinals, chickadee, and there's a squirrel on his way. I can see him. So we call this the Bird Cafe now. And we have a little cafe sign that we found at a thrift store for $1. And that's up on a lattice behind the camera. And yeah, so we just keep pressing on, but got a lot of trash to haul out today, and I'm going to get to it. So here is trash that has built up over the last few days as we go through stuff. Not this whole area. A lot of this is still leftover hoarded stuff, but this center part right here by the front door is where we pile trash as we go through things. And today is haul off day, so got a project to do. Mind you, we've already been doing this for 3 months straight. And while it feels like we're making some progress, it also feels like there's so much more still to do. All right, let's get this stuff hauled off. One of the things I should probably mention before I go and haul all this stuff off, which will be the first of a few trips this morning, I'm sure, is that every one of these bags, everything that's in it, all the stuff had to be gone through meticulously, because there were personal papers or belongings that are just mixed in the mounds of stuff. So it's not as simple as just raking up a bunch of trash and then hauling it out. Everything behind me in this car and every load we've taken out of the house over the last few months has all been painstakingly combed through and reviewed. And along with it, there's a lot of family memories that come up. There's a lot of heartbreak. There's some joyous memories that come up. But it's a lot. It's got emotional toll. So anyway, let's get this stuff to the dump and keep moving on through the morning. One of the nice things, I know I can get cat cuddles anytime I want. I just gotta lay down on a couch in the sun and wait. And there it is. Hello, Itzy. All right, just time to keep on plugging. One thing that I will say, got to give credit where Michelle does most of the sorting of boxes and piles of things and digging out from underneath debris, because it is personal to her. I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but this has been her family's homestead for a long time, for over 30 years, almost 40 years actually. And her and her brother used to be in the bedrooms upstairs. So there's a lot of family things that stir up when going through all this stuff. And it's not something, when you're in a situation with a house like this, it's so personal to the rest of the family and difficult, because they're untangling not only the grief of losing a family member, because her mom just passed a few months ago, but when trying to unhoard the house, one of the things that I think the TV shows do a good job of addressing is the struggle to get through piles of stuff when people are here. What those shows I've never seen really address is the aftermath and the struggles that are involved to try and unpack it and sort through everything and get rid of things. Michelle and I had a conversation, and the hoarding, combined with all the other things in life that you go through, life events and trials and tribulations, but also the warm memories and everything, they all get tangled into the piles of things that are left behind. And I mentioned it in my last video, but I want to mention again, as we're sharing the reality of what we're dealing with here. Her mom was an incredible and remarkable, accomplished woman. She was a pilot and a surgical MD and wrote textbooks and that are still used in colleges today. She did amazing mission work. I'm going to shut the cameras off for a little bit while I do all this. So one of the things about doing this work is both Michelle and I are diabetics. She's a type 1 brittle diabetic, and I'm a type 2. So hers is strictly managed through a glucometer and insulin pump, whereas mine, I kind of have to tweak and adjust as I go. But as I do more physical stuff around the house and working on things, it drives my blood sugar down. And the other thing about working full time when I was doing that is the schedule didn't really allow me the ability to kind of adjust based on activity, get intake when I need it. It was hard to predict what to do as far as insulin. And I'm hoping that being home is going to allow me to have better management of all that stuff. And also being able to take breaks here. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. And one thing I will not miss is being inside concrete walls with artificial light 45 hours a week, 5 days, 9 hours a day inside with no windows and just artificial light. I need this. I need to be outside, and the carpenter bees flying around, tearing up the the cedar on the sides of the house. All that stuff needs to be fixed, and being able to come out and have my lunch at a place like this is just, I'm so grateful. I'm so happy about it. Anyway, it's lunch break time. All right. Let's see what's on the menu here today. So, interesting thing. One of the benefits about going through a hoarded house, because you always got to look for the silver lining, is we have found that there is lots and lots of certain things, an abundance of certain kind of materials. One of the things, and maybe this is generational, I don't know, but there are loads and loads of styrofoam dishware. So we don't buy styrofoam ourselves, but we got to go through and do something with it. We don't, might as well not waste it. So we use that. And also like pens. We have boxes of pens and reading glasses and things. So we don't have to ever buy any of that again. Anyway, so one thing you'll know about me as we get to know each other better as we go through this journey is that I enjoy making food. I made a fresh batch of ice cream last night. I made Michelle a really nice grilled cheese with Italian seasoning and some tomato soup on the side, and seasoned really nice and creamy. And made some homemade taco salad and all those kind of things. But I do enjoy being able to prepare food. Now for lunch, nothing too special. Just got some sandwich bread, got some chicken salad here. One thing I do is instead of going and buying a whole bunch of bottles of soda or anything like that, I buy the store brand 2-liter bottles, and I have a bottle that I'll keep refilling. And when it gets to the point where I feel like I'm probably ingesting too much plastic, the bottle's too old, I'll go ahead and I'll buy a different flavor type thing. My favorite is A&W Zero, which is not a paid promotion, just telling you what I like. Now, I don't know about any of you, but I think that sandwiches are done an injustice when they don't have chips crunched inside of them. So I had one of the first lunches I had after the quote unquote early retirement. I keep doing those air quote things. Somebody commented, so there's no such thing as quote unquote. Just say what you need to say. Okay, I hear the feedback. But I had a fluffernutter. For those that don't know, I'm from New England originally, and that is a staple of our diet growing up and going to school was fluffernutters, where it's puffed marshmallow, air puffed marshmallow, and peanut butter. And I like to toast the bread. That way the peanut butter melts really nice onto the bread and just takes up a notch. But there's different kinds of chips that I think you got to squish into there. So on the fluffernutter, I like traditional, like regular chips or ruffled chips smushed into the sandwich. But when it comes to chicken salad, for me, you just got to go with nacho cheese chips. Got to crunch them on there. So take a few, lay them on top. crunch them in there so they get good and even. And then choose. Just a simple little nacho cheese, chicken salad, chip sandwich. Perfect. You can't have any of my sandwich, Peach. You can't have it. It's for me, no matter how much you sit here and beg. Good kitty. All right, it's just time for cleanup now. I'll sweep all this up, clean it up, and make room for the next big batch of trash that's going to come in here. I spared you the repetitive nature of hauling off the trash, but it was about 4 cars, 3.5 car loads of stuff. It takes up a lot of time. Going back to what I said in my last video, I really, working full time, didn't have time to work on the things that need to happen in this house. And so, yeah, I just did that and made room. This whole space here, everything behind me still needs to be gone through. And we covered some of this. If you see some stuff covered, it's because there were a few cats that were running around in here loose, and we're not consistently using litter boxes, or the litter boxes weren't being cleaned. And so some of the stuff has a very strong ammonia smell. I'll leave it at that. And so we cover things up until we can get to them, glove up, and go through them, because even those have to be gone through. There's important things that need to be found in there. Anyway, so I'm going to clean this up. In about 4 days, it'll fill up again, and we just keep doing this over and over again. Been doing it for 3 months. And as a matter of fact, I think right now is probably a good time for me to go ahead and show you where we started with this, because we've been plugging away at this for about 3 months. So let's go ahead and cue up some of the before and just kind of, well, here it is. All right, so these photos that I'm showing you here, these are just from the first floor. It's a multi-floor house where the basement is a living space and a top loft. So pretty much all these photos that you're going to be seeing in this collage are from before we started trying to clear. Now, I got to put an asterisk on that, because we had been trying to clear different lanes and different space in the house for a very long time. And it was a real challenge. It was difficult to make progress, and then things would fill back in, or there was a lot of emotion involved in trying to clean or clear different areas for some of the reasons that I listed before. But it's really something to be looking back at these now. It's the first time I've really looked at them since taking them. I happened to take these unknowing that we were going to be losing her mom. I actually took these the morning before she passed away, when she was already in hospice. And so if you can imagine all of this and family photos or different belongings or writings and everything all mixed in with this, as going through it is pretty hard to emotionally deal with and go through. And then also under some of this, there's a lot of damage to the house as well. There were some places where there was rot. There was animal sign in some of the areas. As you know, I think I've already mentioned the ammonia from cats and the damage that was there from that as well. But it's amazing to think that someone sustained in this environment. And there's some of the pictures there I'm talking about with the cats. Those litter boxes were solid, and the cats just stopped using them and just went wherever. And there's some areas here, like that's a top view down to some of the area we kept clear just so she had space to live. She was sleeping on that couch that you saw there. If you want to go back and see it again, that door right there, we had to cut into the garage, because some of these pictures you're seeing now, the garage was so hoarded on the top level without weight support that it collapsed in on itself. It's a lot.